Hello lords and ladies, welcome back to Cartoon Hangout, your place for all things cartoon. And for Christmas this year, I'm packing 8 reviews of Tangled in one. Sure, they're extremely late and should have been out long ago, but hey, I don't really have a good excuse, so let's get into today's rapid fire review. Episode 12, Big Brothers of Corona, reminds me immediately of why I love this show. After not watching this show for like 2 months, it's a great episode to come back to. Great animation, down-to-earth characters, superb writing and humor, and just a good amount of morals. Eugene and Lance are tasked with rehabilitating 2 of the cutest thieves I've ever seen, and the story is great. Even the subplot with Rapunzel and Cass is pretty good and isn't too distracting from the core plot, with the lesson Rapunzel learns playing into the lesson that Eugene learns and passes on to the 2 little girls. It's a heartwarming episode that had me almost cry. Definitely a near-perfect episode. Episode 13, The Wrath of Ruthless Ruth, was a really good Halloween episode. Too bad I completely missed out on reviewing it during October. No, it's not as scary as other specials, but I've always been a fan of the spooky stuff, not always the pee yourself in terror kind. So an episode where Rapunzel and patrons of the Snuggly Duckling are trapped by a spirit is pretty much up my alley. This episode features an excellent soundtrack and helps remind us why Disney is king of the musicals. And in a way, the musical number felt like old school Disney. There's also a good story here buried amongst the spooky hauntings about Rapunzel wanting to chase her dreams, but putting them aside for the moment because of her dad worrying about her. It was sweet, and it helps make Rapunzel not come across too callous in her desire to leave all the time. I'm sure it's all going to come to a head soon enough, though. What a weird coincidence. Another episode where the plot is largely about an animal that I assumed going in that I wouldn't really like, and yet I did like. I even kept pausing it because initially it wasn't my speed, but eventually Max's enemy turned itself around and became pretty exciting. It follows Max and his rivalry with a new horse, Axel, who keeps stealing his thunder, but turns out to be a thief working to break out the foe from the first movie. Well, not the first movie. The TV movie. Her role is rather small, yet it was good to see her again. There aren't many reoccurring foes in the series, so you gotta make good use of them when you can. Anyways, the first half of the episode isn't anything too special. Newcomer makes protagonist, in this case Max, jealous, and everyone thinks he's being a jerk. But from there it gets a bit better, and by episode's end it was a rather enjoyable half hour. It's not the best episode, and I don't think it would ever make my top 5, but definitely do give this a watch if you wanted to see a Max-centric episode. The Way of the Willow introduces us to Queen Ariana's zany younger sister, who causes the Queen's birthday to spin wildly out of control. And it's a pretty fun one. I like the episodes that pair up characters we haven't normally seen get too much time together, and who would have thought we hadn't seen mother and daughter get their quality mother-daughter time yet? In the process, we learn way more about Ariana and her past. It's your typical straight-laced sister and carefree sister, but it's still entertaining to watch. I do feel like the series is really building up to Rapunzel leaving, especially with this episode. The ghost one set it up the most, but this one literally had a free-spirited character who travels the world in it. Oh yeah, Raps is definitely going to be more and more likely to want to leave. And the little pet Willow brings is great too. It really reminded me of the Mogwai in the Gremlin movies. Just replace food after midnight with a bell and it's almost the exact same creature. Again, just another really fun episode from the Tangled series. The next episode is 16, Queen for a Day. And what can I say about this episode other than wow? It's written less like a standard episode and more like a full-length movie. Well, a 44-minute movie, but still, it's got a lot of meat to it. Rapunzel's parents on the verge of death after being caught in a blizzard, Corona in a state of emergency, a friend in need, and more plot progression in terms of the mysterious rocks. This is honestly one of the best episodes in the series, if not the best. It has 2 amazing songs, a heart-pounding story, and even though you know everyone is going to make it through the events, thanks to this being a prequel, you still can't help feeling nervous about the characters. That's good writing in my opinion. Queen for a Day really put Rapunzel through the ringer. She got to feel what it's like to run a kingdom, and even worse, have to make really tough decisions, and isn't that the best kind of story? You need to have these moments to forge a stronger character at the end, but this episode doesn't end with Rapunzel reforged. Oh no, she's doubting herself even more by the end. And what's worse, she's put a friend on a dark path to possibly becoming a villain? The drama, I love it. I can't believe how entertaining this episode was. I know I've praised the show before, but it's just so good. You don't even need to have seen the original movie. Just catch up on Tangled the series right now. My only complaint with this episode is I feel like I'm not sure what the level of technology is in this show. Everyone is seen using medieval devices, but then there's some sciencey machine underground. What? The symbol on Varian's father might have something to do with it, since it was on the door to the machine, I think? I'm not sure, but I look forward to learning more. And I look forward to Varian's descent into possible villainy. Please don't chicken out on that storyline if they are indeed going in that direction. There's something very tragic about friends turned enemy, and if done right, ooh boy is it fun to watch. This amazing episode is also now out on DVD, so go pick it up. It's that great. Painter's Block appropriately picks up soon after the events of the previous episode and deals with Rapunzel's inability to make decisions. While the story of Season 1 has from time to time reared its head, I'm pleasantly surprised at the story's progression and continuity these past few episodes. It's really picking up steam, while with the events of episode 16 releasing an evil spirit in this one. What we end up with is a really decent episode. It's fun, has a pretty cool villain, and maybe points us to a big baddie for the season finale. This shadowy guy whose name I can't pronounce. Yeah, that would be cool. My prediction is he seeks a vessel, and Varian is it. Mark my words. Episode 18, Not in the Mood, is next up, and it sees our main cast have their personalities flipped. Now, it's not as cringy as you might expect. Normally, I'm not a fan of such plots, at least with how most writers handle them, but this time, it's pretty funny. Rapunzel was more hardened, Cass was upbeat, and Eugene was unsure of himself. And all because of Max and Pascal. While ultimately their fault, I could only laugh as they continually got themselves further and further into trouble. You may think it's just a harmless throwaway episode, but by the end, Varian gets his hand on the potion, meaning his personality will either flip or he'll use it in some way. The plot thickens, as they say, and I am so excited to see what happens next. So did I just say the plot thickens? Well, it exploded in episode 19, The Quest for Varian. Varian sends Rapunzel and friends after a mystery scroll, and instead of finding Varian, it reveals a massive conspiracy involving, dun dun dun, Rapunzel's father. Yeah, I know. Whoa. This episode was far too short, and I wish it was an hour long because I so want more answers than what we got. Is Rapunzel's dad part of the same group that Varian's father was with? I mean, he has to be, right? And even Cass's dad is in said group. Episode 19 was a lot more question than answer, so we'll have to wait for what I'm assuming could be the two-part finale coming later this month, but oh my god, what an episode! It's really entertaining, even though, again, we don't find out much more than what I just mentioned. Also, I just want to mention here that I doubt it's a coincidence that the Mystery Men's shadows at first look like Darth Vader from behind, because, you know, Disney owns the series. So, anyways, that's it for this rapid fire review. I have covered every episode I missed while I was on break a few months ago, and the episodes I failed to catch up to when I initially first got back. Yay for me! These have been some of the best hours of TV I've seen in a while, and some of the best Tangled episodes this season has brought us. I mean, I was hoping the show would be story-oriented, but after a while I'd almost forgotten the ongoing plot with the rocks, and now, all of a sudden, the remaining episodes of Season 1 are just booming with plot. I love it. But what do you lords and ladies think of these episodes, and do you have any theories as to what's going on, or will be happening? Let me know below in the comments. If you'd like to watch videos earlier than they're available on YouTube, or have more of a direct say when I do here, consider checking out my Patreon, where for $5 you can help support this channel and get all of that and more. Or snag yourself some Archaic King merch on my Spreadshirt. Links as always in the description below. Thanks for watching, and take care.